Okay, you know that feeling. Something loud happens, completely out of the blue.
Yeah, like thunder cracking right overhead.
Exactly. And you just jump. Your heart pounds. That feeling, that's kind of our starting point today.
Hmm.
We're doing a deep dive into fear conditioning, basically how we learn to be afraid.
Yeah,
You pointed us to some material on fear conditioning explained, right?
that's right. We're basically pulling out the key ideas from that source.
To give you a clearer picture of how these fear links form and, well, how they shape our reactions.
Precisely.
So, okay, fear conditioning, can you break that down? What's really going on there?
Sure. So at its core, it's a really potent way we learn. You take something neutral, something that doesn't really cause a reaction on its own,
Right.
and it gets linked up in our brain with something genuinely frightening. It's a type of associative learning, specifically classical conditioning.
Like your thunder example, maybe lightning comes first, then the loud crash. After a while, just the flash.
Just the flash can make you brace yourself, yeah. That's the conditioning.
Got it. So this neutral thing picks up some negative association. Where does the brain handle all that?
The amygdala. That's the key player here. It's relatively small, but it has a huge influence on processing emotions, especially fear.
The fear center, basically.
Kind of, yeah. It's crucial for actually forming and storing these learned fear connections. And what's really interesting is that specific bits within the amygdala, like the central nucleus, seem to orchestrate the actual physical fear response we feel.
Huh. So how do researchers, study this? You can't just tell someone, okay, feel afraid now.
No, exactly. A lot of the foundational work uses animal models. So a researcher might pair a neutral stimulus, say a specific sound.
A tone or something.
Yeah, exactly, a tone. They pair that tone repeatedly with something unpleasant but mild, like a small foot shock.
Sure.
Then they see if the animal starts showing fear responses like freezing up or changes in heart rate just when it hears the tone alone. That shows the learning, the conditioning has happened.
And how does that kind of basic research connect to, big human issues? Things like phobias or PTSD.
It translates pretty directly, actually. With phobias or PTSD, often a really traumatic event triggers intense fear conditioning, something that was neutral before the event.
Like driving a car.
Right. If someone was in a bad car accident, just seeing a car or even thinking about driving could later trigger a massive fear response because that link was formed so strongly.
That makes a lot of sense. Is that connection permanent, though? Like a life sentence of fear?
Not always. There's a process called extinction. It's basically about weakening that learned fear response.
How does that work?
It happens if the conditioned thing, the tone, the car, whatever it is experienced repeatedly without the bad consequence following.
So lots of lightning flashes, but no thunder.
Exactly. Over time, your flinch response might decrease. But it's interesting. Extinction doesn't seem to totally erase the original fear memory. It's more like learning a new memory, a safety signal that overrides or inhibits the fear.
Which might explain why fears can sometimes pop back up later.
Precisely. That original trace might still be there.
Okay, this sounds an awful lot like exposure therapy used for anxiety disorders.
You got it. Exposure therapy is built directly on these extinction principles. You carefully, gradually expose someone to the feared cues.
In a safe setting, without the bad outcome.
Right. And that helps weaken the learned fear association over time.
Okay, so those are learned fears. What about things people seem scared of without a specific bad experience, like spiders or heights for some people?
Good question. Those are often thought of as more like innate fears or maybe evolutionary preparedness. We might be biologically predisposed to learn certain fears really quickly, like things that were dangerous to our ancestors. Experience can still shape how intense they are, though.
And how do scientists actually, measure fear, whether it's learned or innate?
There are a few ways. You can observe behavior like, does the person or animal avoid the thing, try to escape? Physiologically, you can measure heart rate changes, sweating, that's skin conductant response, or even look directly at brain activity using things like fMRI.
Right. Now, what if something just reminds you of the scary thing? Not the exact trigger, but close.
That's fear generalization. The fear can spread basically from the original specific trigger to other similar things.
So the fear generalizes.
Yep. The more similar the new thing is to the original scary one, the stronger the fear response usually is. Sometimes that's useful, right? It warns us of potential danger. But if it spreads too far, it can really contribute to generalized anxiety.
Fascinating. Can we learn fear just by like watching someone else?
Absolutely. Observational learning is huge for fear. Seeing someone react with intense fear to something can actually condition you to fear it too, even if nothing bad happened to you directly. Media exposure can play a role here as well.
Wow. Okay, so pulling this all together, understanding how we learn fear seems really key for helping people, doesn't it? Especially with anxiety.
Definitely. These principles of fear conditioning and extinction are, fundamental to developing effective treatments like exposure therapy for phobias and anxiety disorders. Knowing how the links form helps us figure out how to help people weaken them.
Okay, so key takeaway. Fear conditioning is this basic, powerful learning process. The amygdala is central. It can lead to things like phobias and PTSD,
But crucially, these learned fears aren't necessarily fixed. They can be unlearned or managed through processes like extinction.
which is the basis for therapies that work. And this is different from fears we might be sort of hardwired with.
You summed it up perfectly. It's a core learning mechanism with really big implications for mental health.
So something for you listening to think about.
Yeah.
How does knowing this maybe shift how you see your own anxieties? Or maybe anxieties you notice in others? Could seeing them as potentially learned responses change anything? Perhaps it sparks some curiosity to, dig a bit deeper into the whole neuroscience of fear and anxiety. It's definitely a compelling area.